I've been living with this feeling for a while. If death is coming, I'ma greet so live it up, nigga, we gon' live it up. So can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Just split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right. So live it up, nigga, we gon' live it up. So can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Just split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right, yeah. I woke up and the city was on fire. You could see the pandemonium for miles. I've been living with this feeling for a while. If death is coming, I'ma greet him with us. I've been living like push the pedal to the metal till I see the flag blowing chunks out the ozone while I burn the gas crackers on my ass. Think I'm finna crash. I ain't worried till I hit the curb. Vision blurs, learn every word. Coupe in is filled with different flavors. They just wanna live something I could give life in the 16. Painting pictures like the 16. Even now I'm on my back staring at the ceiling wondering what the shit mean. I don't wanted this my whole life. Now I'm here feeling so right. Getting faded in the strobe lights. Nigga, I could do this all night. Show me life, show me love, show me something real, show me something brand new. Take your time, ain't no rush. I just wanna feel everything you've been through. We ain't leaving till they shut it down. So take advantage when it come around. Doing damage every time we out. They gon' remember me without a doubt. Nigga, we gon' live it up, so can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Just split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right. So live it up, nigga, we gon' live it up, so can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Just split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right, yeah. I woke up and the city was on fire. You could see the pandemonium for miles. I've been living with this feeling for a while. If death is coming, I'ma greet him with us. Everyone dies, but have you been living? Take full advantage of what you've been given. You woke up, you winning. If that ain't enough, fuck up a check and go live it up. Me and my niggas, we pull up and not ready or not. Before you know it, I'm feeling the vibe. Hard to ignore it, I can't even try, and that be a lie. Look, I seen a lot, but it's all over. Once you were left, I just crossed over. Cup full of Henny without soda. Remedy anything life throw you. On D&D for the night, so gold. Leave me a message when that toll roll. I hate you back when I get focused. Right now I'm on it and buy loaded. Look, the city is live and I'm trying to ride the wave. So let me get by, I'm here for a night, then I got a flight to take. But when I return, the city gon' burn, cause I'm bringing all the flame. My nigga, it's all a game. My nigga, it's all a game. So live it up, nigga, we gon' live it up. So can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Just split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right. So live it up, nigga, we gon' live it up. So can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Just split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right, yeah. I woke up and the city was on fire. You could see the pandemonium for miles. I've been living with this feeling for a while. If death is coming, I'ma greet him with a smile. Smile, smile, smile.
All right, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks a lot for everybody joining in. It's been a glorious, glorious weekend down here in Florida. The weather's beautiful. Everything's hitting prime time, and we are strapped in, ready to go. I am your host, as always, Tyson, TRL Business Time. With me is Jeffrey off the schneid. Jeffrey, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Doing great. Great weekend. Finally got a day off yesterday to just kind of relax, spend with the kids. We watched both the original Ant-Mans at home, slid over to Disney Springs, watched the new Ant-Man. Kids loved it. Gave it a 9 out of 10, and then did some shopping. 50% off for cast members over there at Disney-owned stores. So
Really?
gotta get that in while you can. Yeah, actually, I bought them like the really cool Darth Vader helmet. You know, that like is completely immersive and sits on top and breathes for you and everything. So that, and then I got the little one, the Iron Man gauntlet, if you will.
The Thanos version? The
No,
one that
yeah,
the one that is a sippy cup?
So not the Thanos version. It's actually the Iron Man one. So it's the one that Iron Man had on when he.
Oh, so the smaller.
Bring
Okay.
everybody back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could. They had an option for both, but he said he wanted to be a good guy for the first time in his life. Is what my.
I thought that the Thanos one was a limited because I actually have the Thanos one.
I mean, it's It's a good size. You have to pull on it with the strings and do the whole thing, and it makes the noise and the infinity stones light up. And
Oh wait, this
know,
is
cool.
okay.
Pretty cool.
That's way more than what I have. Then mine is literally
Okay.
it's actually a drink. So you put it on there and you hold it and you have a straw, but it's got all the stones and stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah,
How was your weekend?
it was good. You know, we had a little bit of a scare here. You know, my big boy, Mr.
no.
Achilles. Yeah, I think we can actually get him in here. Check this out. Let's see here.
Achilles.
There he is, my big boy.
Oh, there's the puppers.
He well, last week he had a little bit of a puncture on his elbow or something, so we took him in, and you know, they have to do a full check on him, you know, before they can, you know, put a little Band-Aid on it. So $440 later, they didn't really know what was wrong. Whatever, he comes back. You know, like 2 days after that, he started limping. We couldn't really figure out why. I'm pressing his paws. I'm thinking, is this arthritis? I'm yanking his paws, his arms. Nothing. Finally, my wife found it. There was a little something stuck in his paw, so we had to pull that out last night. But it was getting pretty bad there for a while. I mean, he was really limping. We couldn't figure it out. We couldn't find it. It was really weird. But we got it last night. Big boy's back to normal, so scare avoided. You know, he is getting a little old. He's 9 this year, so you know, it's getting to that age where, you know, as a parent, you're starting to freak out at every little thing that happens to him.
They grow up quick, huh?
Dude,
9 years old.
I can remember picking him up, dude, when I lived in downtown, and hitting the bars down on Orange Avenue with that guy right there. Let me tell you, that dog did his job. Yep.
That dog can hunt, boy.
That's right. When I went to pick him up, when I got him, he was the last one with the blue eyes, and obviously, you know, I have blue eyes, and the eyes matched. Oh, really? Yeah, they're pretty beautiful actually. It's one of my best qualities. Okay. Besides besides my wonderful personality, you know.
And your wit, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a great weekend, man. We had a great time. Hung around the house, got some stuff done, you know.
Did you do some cowboy shit? Is that what I saw?
Oh, we did. Yeah, we went to the rodeo. The Silver Spurs 150th rodeo on Saturday, which
this guy watches Yellowstone and just goes all fucking in, dude. It's unbelievable.
So the really screwed up part is last year we went on a Friday, right? So the thing that I don't like about it is they do the fair at the same time, the Osceola County Fair. And so,
cool.
Yeah, it's not cool though, because it really bottlenecks the area, right? And it's really tough to get to. So we the way that they advertise it on their site though is Saturdays the bulls, right? The big bulls, and we wanted to watch the big bulls.
Yeah, you're a big Bulls fan.
Yeah, little did I know that it's the same thing every 3 days. Each day it's the same event. So literally we go Saturday, the event's completely sold out. People everywhere. And let me tell you that there's zero etiquette at a rodeo when it comes to getting up, moving around. We take the aisle seats because, you know, aisles are where it's at. Every time somebody was getting up on a bull, every time it was up on people were standing up, walking around. We couldn't really see anything. We didn't pick the right seats, but we still had a great time. But lesson learned, if you're just going to go just Friday or even Sunday, stay away from Saturday. It's an absolute shit show, but we still had a great time. And yes, we're thinking about going to the national one in Las Vegas in December, where they crown the national rodeo champion with $1 million prize pool. So yeah, it's really good times.
So the rodeo, is that like an all-encompassing thing? Like you have to like ride the bull, you have to lasso, you have to do the whole thing, you get points for it, or is it based off of every competition?
So it's each individual event. Yeah, okay. So it's each individual event. Now I will say, so they had the calf roping, they had the calf wrestling, they had the bull riding, they had the barrel racers. You know, okay. It's a great event. The barrel racers are honestly one of the best parts. It's just.
I was gonna ask, is that your favorite? The barrel racers? Is that like the what you gravitate to if you want to watch something?
The bulls, dude. I mean, oh my god, dude, these animals are massive, just
I'm sure it's tough
pure,
too. It's like
pure muscle, dude. These 500 pounds, and these dudes are just holding on for dear life.
and then you're sitting there wondering the whole time what they taste like. You know what I mean? Like I bet that's some good eating too.
Well, I will
know?
say that it appeared that like one of the calves like got a leg injury. It's if you've never been to a rodeo, it's one of the most patriotic events that you'll ever be to, dude. All they talk about is God and country. You know, they respect the cattle that are there. They respect, you know, the livestock, everything. But one of the calves, it looked like he got his leg hurt when he got roped or whatever. And he was kind of limping off. And of course, my wife's like, "Oh no, you know, the poor little calf." And I'm like, "Well, somebody's having veal tonight."
That's about it.
Yeah, but yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. So a lot of things on. You know, a lot of events happening this weekend. You know, the NBA All-Star Game was this weekend. I can honestly say I didn't watch any of it. I did see the LeBron's dunk, but that was about it. From what I've heard, it's not really good. I know that you tuned in for a little bit, right?
So it's been more and more unwatchable for the past 10 years, and every year I'm less interested in watching it. And I remember when it was just, you know, a celebration of the greatest basketball players in the world, and people wanted to go hard at each other and, you know, really put on a show. It hasn't been that, in my opinion, in a very, very long time. I did not tune in on Saturday. I usually always love the dunk contest, and I love the three-point contest because it showcases great skill. I even love the futures game sometimes, but I haven't watched that as well. The NBA's in a weird spot here, man. The average viewer to me, and even the players who are in the game are like, that's not basketball. That's not basketball whatsoever. But at the same time, this is a highlighted event that you have young people. You know, I guarantee you there's some kid tonight who, or even, or last night, or, you know, wherever, that's going to go out there and start trying to hit, you know, 3-pointers like Damian Lillard from half court.
But in all honesty, though, that's
like
the NBA
Jason
now
Tatum.
anyway. You know, I mean, it's
No,
all
it's-
three.
that's-
It's
that's
all
not-
3-pointers.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's not that.
Well,
It is
it's
way
definitely
more
not
than that.
egregious.
It's way more up and down. There was, you know, a few different interesting things. We could start on Saturday night and with Mac McClung. If you follow, you know, the high school level and the viral videos and the dunk videos and stuff like that, you've heard of Mac McClung for a long time now. We thought he was going to be this sensation when he went to Georgetown. Didn't really pan out. He's been in the G League for a few years now. It's funny, he's actually Riff Raff's cousin. I don't know if anybody knows who Riff Raff is. I know Justice, who's tuning in, knows exactly who Riff Raff is. But he's always been like a good dunker. You know, the 540 was an interesting little twist to it. A lot of those dunks, it's just where the dunk contest has gone is so sad to me, from the days of Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady and Jason Richardson. You know, and they asked Ja Morant, you know, about the dunk contest, and he says, "I'm never doing the dunk contest." And like I said, this is one of the things that I hold LeBron accountable for. And I do think, not to get ahead of myself, but I do think there will be some pushback when it comes time for the new CBA to be discussed from the owners, because I don't think they're getting the bang for the buck that they deserve.
Well, according to Charles Barkley, the owners are going to be pushing back pretty hard. You know what I mean? As far as
They should.
the
Honestly,
six.
they-
You know, he referenced Kevin Durant. You know, and hey, I signed you to this big thing. We're supposed to put this whole team together, and 6 months later, you're demanding a trade. You know, you know, and talking to our producer, Jeremy, this morning before the show, you know, we were talking about, you know, it seems to me like the NBA All-Star Game is really turning into the NFL Pro Bowl game, to where it's just literally a walkthrough. It's like you were saying, who can hit the longest shot. If they have an open lane for the dunk, it's going to go through. Now, again, I don't watch a lot of the NBA until the playoffs, because to me it doesn't matter. I did used to watch a little bit of the All-Star games back when the Jordan era. And even with Kobe a little bit, Kobe didn't like to lose. And you know, I think that the end, you know, he kind of relaxed a little bit. But I just remember the old school All-Star games where it was a competition, man. It was like you were not losing to these guys. And it used to be, from my understanding, you know, a little bit lower scoring. You know, now I don't even know what the score was. What was it, 150, 100? You know, I don't even know.
couldn't tell you. I think it was 182 to 176.
Okay, right there. I mean, we're over 300 points in a game.
Listen, Tyson, the only reason it was that is because they give a hard set on what the score total is after the third quarter.
All right, because then it's whoever hits.
Score is now 182 points or whatever.
Right.
And because that game would have been played in the
Yeah. I did see LeBron's dunk, which that was pretty amazing off the backboard to himself. But again, I mean, that's not happening. But like you said, it's more of a showcase here. And, I really think that the MLB...
The problem is when your showcase is shit, then it doesn't even matter what it is.
Well, I mean, that play wasn't. I mean, that got the oohs and ahs. Right. I mean, that's what they're coming to see. They're coming to see superstars. It's just like the home run in baseball, the dunk. That's what the fans are coming to see. I really feel like the MLB got it right. And I know the NFL can't do that because of, the injuries and stuff like that. But the NBA is not as injury prone as the NFL. However, we are getting to that point with rest and, tweaks and stuff like that. It really feels like that. But the NBA game should be played. And I think it goes to the same token of whoever wins gets home field in the finals or gets home court in the finals. I think the MLB really got that right. To where they said, all right, whoever wins this game, you have home field in the World Series. Doesn't matter about the records. And I think unless you get to the point where you're going to make it count for something other than a minuscule paycheck, because at the end of the day, let's be honest, whatever they get for this is very minuscule in regards to their contracts. Yeah. I think it's just going to keep going this route. Now, as far as what you're talking about, as far as the dunk contest, I said that, a few times. I just feel like, the dunks and have the dunk. What am I going to do for a dunk? Every dunk has been pretty much done. But like you said, I mean, there's other things that you could do. You could do a 360. I mean, a clean 360 dunk is still going to get the oohs and ahs, regardless of who's done it before. The cleaner the dunk, the more oohs and ahs that you're going to get. I don't think that you need to have the circus cars like Blake Griffin where you're jumping over a Kia. Or, I think I saw the Mac guy had two people on top of each other. That was kind of cool, I guess. But, I mean, at the end of the day, they're both hunched down. So it's not really two people. It's kind of like,
Well,
I don't know where the NBA goes from here.
And look, you can do a 360 windmill like Vince Carter started off with when he did, his very first dunk of the night was like a 360 windmill. And it was the best 360 windmill we've ever seen in our life because of the emphaticness, the height that he got with it, the power that he threw it down with. It was on his very first try. You know what I mean? Like, these are all things that can factor in. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you do have to just do something to entertain us.
But I think that's where they're coming from, though, a little bit, is that they feel like they have to reinvent the wheel. They feel like they can't go and just do the same dunks over and over again. But let me tell you, here at the Uninformed Fan NBA, we're here to tell you it's okay. It's okay. Just go out there and, when you're driving late, like John Morant has some spectacular dunks in the middle of games. I mean, we've seen him just absolutely one arm completely back. Bro, do that with nobody in your face. Just do that with nobody in your face, with no worries of getting put to the ground and enjoy it.
Yeah, he would come out. He would do the first dunk. We would go nuts. Every dunk he did after that, every single person is standing in the arena. The electricity is vibing through there. You can feel it through your television. It's an amazing situation. I want my kids to feel what I felt back then.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
A dunk is the equivalent to a home run in baseball, right? It's the thing that's going to get everybody up on their off their seats. It's going to get everybody I mean, I love watching sometimes when a player just dunks over another player and just watching the bench's reaction. That's usually the most comical. Those guys are out there, feet are in the air. They're all over the place. I don't know where the NBA goes from here as far as this, but I do believe, like you're talking about with the CBA, I think the owners are going to be pushing back a little bit. However, as you said, though, this is still an event that sells out. It's still an event that brings multi-million dollars to a city. And, but I think it goes back to the fan experience, right? So All-Stars games are more about the fan experience versus an actual game. It's an opportunity to get all the superstars in one spot for fans to be able to be able to be closer to them, or an opportunity to meet them. I know that there's some that do the meet and greets and stuff like that. So I think that aspect is really cool, but you have to find a way to value the game. And I don't think until they do something similar to the MLB that I think it's just going to keep getting worse. It's just,
Yeah, and I think they're going to get their numbers back. They'll see. I mean, it's not watchable anymore, especially to people who are actually fans.
Yeah.
Which is what you're really alienating as well too. I did think that the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown back and forth was a lot of fun. It was cool to see Tatum come out. It was so funny. Somebody said, Tatum saw that it was the Kobe Bryant MVP award, and he was like, "Hold my beer, here we go." Because we know how much Tatum loves Kobe. But yeah, I thought that aspect was cool. Other than that, there wasn't a lot for me to be hyped or excited about when it came to that. I'm ready for the second half of this NBA season, though. I really am. I think it's going to be great.
I know you're really high on the Magic, especially the way that they ended the first half. I'm very, very curious to see what the Bulls are going to do. Again, they went from that spot 2-3 up. Now they're out. I mean, they've really just fallen off. And how anybody can look at that roster and just say, well, this is all because Lonzo Ball's not there. To me, is just, with the talent that's on that paper, there is no way that team should be under 500, in my opinion. Now, the Magic are on the up and up. A lot of young superstars coming up, and they put together a hell of a stretch there to end of the first half. So, I mean, as an Orlando Magic fan, you got to be pretty excited about what's going to happen the second half.
Yeah, especially to start 5-20 and then to be where they are now, knocking on the door. Now, it's going to be tough coming down the stretch. I will say the one thing they have is youthful exuberance. They have all the confidence in the world. They're going to go out there. They're going to play hard every single night. They're going to continue to push. We'll see what happens. They're 4 games back right now. I think it's going to be tough, especially with the teams that are ahead of them. But I do love that we didn't just decide to tank this year. I love the fact that we're showing these kids how to compete, trying to instill a winning culture in them, whether it be the second half of the season or this last push of the season that we have. Continue to win games, to continue to be in every game, I think is very, very big as well.
And the Magic are obviously very confident moving forward because they're actually adding seats next year. I got the email from my rep that they're adding a third row to the court side underneath the visitors' basket. So obviously the Orlando Magic feel like the tickets are going to be up, or they just said, you know what, let's create a third row by the visitors bench so that we can get some resale tickets. I'm not sure, but they added a whole nother row.
I'm sure it's a little bit of both. I do think that with 2 first-round picks and some cap space to work with next year, you could see them be aggressive in the offseason. That being said, the East, I feel like the East should be open as well too. But the problem with the Magic is that everybody on their team has to get better and they have to develop. And that is something that I feel like, whether it's been a guy like Mo Bamba, who we just traded away, or some other people who have been in our program before, they get to a certain point and they plateau. We don't take that extra step going from legitimate star to superstar, and that's something that the Magic have to correct and fix.
Well, hopefully, like I said, it's an exciting second half, and we'll get into the playoffs, and we'll get all that we want. Back to the All-Star game, and speaking of things that are unwatchable, I did attempt to watch the Daytona 500 a little bit, and I had to stop. Now, granted, I wasn't watching it with sound. I think I was watching Gladiator, and then the all-time great movie, Russell Crowe. When it comes on, you have to put it on. I texted my cousin, and I was like, can you please explain to me what the hell is going on in NASCAR anymore? I'm from the Rubbin' Is Racing Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise, Cole Trickle days, where, it was 500 miles straight away. It was just all go, no stop. Now they do it in stages, and I understand, and speaking with our producer this morning, a little bit of why they do that. But on the same token, it's just so many breaks. There's so many commercials. And when you get a racing event like a Formula One event that's literally commercial free the entire race, you're watching the entire race. Now, there's not a whole lot of overtakes and rubbing like, there is NASCAR. But I would love to see what NASCAR's numbers are now versus 15 years ago, because I feel like NASCAR is going the way of Harley Davidson, right? So what I mean by that is when you see a Harley Davidson, you don't see an 18-year-old kid on a Harley Davidson. You don't see a 20-year-old kid on a Harley Davidson. You see a 45, 55, 60 plus, a generational person on a Harley Davidson. And I feel like those sales have extremely tanked because the newer generation is not coming out and dropping 20 grand on a motorcycle. And I think it's the same thing. I think NASCAR is very old school. If you weren't born into it, you're not picking it up and getting into it. I could be wrong on this, but I feel like Formula One right now is just completely outpacing NASCAR. And the more races that they continue to bring to the United States, I think it's just going to continue to diminish NASCAR. I know that you don't watch a whole lot of NASCAR. I don't think anybody in our circle really watches a whole lot of NASCAR. But, you know, racing's racing, and it's nice to see every once in a while. But I just don't understand what they're doing. I really don't.
I think our buddy Brandon Pickens was one of the only.
Yeah, Brandon.
Be into NASCAR back in the day. And you know, shout out to him. I saw he's having a baby, and
yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations to him. So I think he's one of the only ones who still gets into it. I saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was the one who won. I do think, you know, you're talking about a 5-hour race. Is that what?
This one went over 5 hours, and it went over 530 miles, which was the longest and the longest race in NASCAR history.
So I'm not committing 5 hours to basically anything in my life unless it's a round of golf at a.
And even then, 5 hours at a round of golf, you're getting a little ticked at the end.
I'm a little pissed off at the very end as well too. So this is a tough one. I don't get into NASCAR, but I will say that I do feel like watching Formula One and kind of starting to get into that and watching that show. I do appreciate the length of time that Formula One is a little bit, right? It's not a very long race. Also, like I said before, you're only focused on 20 drivers and 10 teams when it comes to Formula One. So it's very easy to kind of lock onto something as opposed to you have all these different names and things and guys and, you know, anyway, to me, Formula One is where it's at. I'm also a little bit more, I would say, on the bougier side. I would classify you that as well, too.
I would not. You know, I'm from the Redneck Riviera, brother.
Yeah, right, bro. Like, if they're offering you caviar or they're offering you beans and franks, you're taking caviar.
I can have both. I had hot dogs. and nachos at the rodeo, my friend.
I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing this with you because I know you and I know the way that you are.
You don't. You don't know Jack.
Anyway,
but
so
yeah,
I feel like F1 is more of the wine and cheese crowd as opposed to the natural light crowd. You know.
Now that I will give you 100%. 100%. I will give you that. F1 is definitely bougie. And Daytona is definitely Redneck Riviera, 100%. But the beautiful thing about being in America is you can do both, and that is what I do.
Did you just say Riviera?
Redneck Riviera. That's Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, baby. That's the South Carolina Strip. That's where I lived.
Right
there. Yeah, I did. You know, speaking of Myrtle Beach and, you know, South Carolina, and one of the most recognizable golf capitals of the United States, Tiger Woods back in the PGA. Great for the sport. Everything was. We got to see him make the cut. You know, I know that he didn't make it by much, but the fact is that I saw Tiger Woods was plus 200 to make the cut. You know, in my mind, that bet is money all day long. I don't care what the tournament is, but to put him, especially on that course and that tournament, to give him plus 200 to make the cut, not even be in contention, just make the cut. Now, I realize he really backdoored his way in there. But on the same token, that was just easy money. You know, what I watched yesterday on ESPN Plus, I watched the feature pairing, so I watched him the entire round. Like we said before, you know, he looks rough, man. I mean, he looks rough. And, you know, at the end of it, he came out and said that was probably much more stressful on him than he alluded to. You know, it's kind of sad at the same time because you wonder how many rounds does this guy have left. You know, this isn't a guy that you're going to watch on the senior tour after his championship days are done. I know he came out and he also said he's going to play in the majors and then a couple other tournaments. So you're probably going to see him maybe eight times a year, which again, that's all we need. But the PGA really needed this. They needed him back to see again him, Rory, Justin, all those guys joking around. You know, he did come out and apologize again after the tournament about the tampon incident. But my favorite thing was, did you see Tampax's tweet towards Tiger Woods?
No, what did Tampax have to say about the situation?
They said, imagine one tampon launching like Tiger Woods to the top of the pip once again for the PGA. We expect a 20% cut.
Very nice. Very well done, Tampax.
Yeah, I mean, at least the actual producers of the tampon. But I mean, I know that you saw the majority of it. I know you really saw the Max Homa interview, so I want to turn it over to you and let you finish up and give us your thoughts on the Genesis Invitational. I know that the Rom came back again. I said a few weeks ago that, you know, I don't know if he's the number one or whatever, but I watched him a little bit. Man, that man can smooth shake that ball down the fairway. It is pretty to watch.
Yeah, honestly, so just to touch on the Tiger point real quick, and we'll move off that and talk about the actual tournament itself. I thought this was, if you're a Tiger Woods fan, this entire weekend was a big W for us. The fact that he was able to finish all 4 rounds, and especially on a course like Riviera that's so, I guess the word is unctuous. I'm not really sure. Anyway, there's a lot
undulating.
of undulating. There's a lot of up and down going on. Yeah, I can't believe that you came up with that.
I am a plethora of knowledge.
Going up and down, which puts a lot of stress on obviously that leg and that ankle that he has that's so heavily protected that he's having to walk around with, a borderline prosthetics on him to be able to make it around. He's got specially made shoes to be able to fit everything that he has on there. I thought the most encouraging sign that I saw is, some of his swing speeds were over 180 miles an hour. Which is up there with the top of the top in terms of your swing speed. And that's what they're really going to look at, how far you're hitting the ball, how much power you're able to generate. He's still right there with everybody.
I think on 15, he had the longest drive of the week.
I believe so. I'm just going to say this. His putter completely betrayed him this week. He played way too well to finish where he did. I think he would probably tell you the same. He never got the speed of the greens down, really. It was kind of a tough look for him there, especially using that old putter that's been so trusty over the years.
Did you see the picture of that putter?
Oh, it's terrible. It looks like my putter.
What is he doing though? Like, how do you get dents like that without hitting trees? You ain't getting dents like that off putting golf balls.
Are you kidding me? Hitting golf carts with it, bro? He's banging that thing off some things. He's notorious for that.
He's banging that putter like those Perkins waitresses.
We got there. I didn't know if we were going to get there, and we got there.
We got there, baby.
When it comes to the actual tournament itself, yeah, Rahm played well. I had Morikawa to win. Very disappointing finish for Morikawa. Max Homa, to me, has one of the coolest stories that he's gone from the guy who was roasting everybody's swings on Twitter, a few years ago, to then, teaming up with the Barstool guys and the Foreplay brand, to now where his golf game has evolved to. And I know he's always been a great golfer, but it's just so cool to see. He feels like our guy that we root for, in a sense. Like him and Kevin Kisner, I feel like are our guys, our fan favorites that we absolutely love. He gave a very passionate speech after the round. He came in second to Jon Rahm and tried to put a lot of pressure on him, and Jon Rahm is just one of the best golfers in the world. If you have time to take 4 minutes out of your day to go watch it, it's really, really cool. But basically, just to kind of give you a brief nutshell on it, he touches on the fact that he won in 2021. Riviera is one of his favorite courses, one of his home courses. He's got so much support there. He just wants to win in front of the fans that are there to support him every year that he plays. So this tournament meant a lot to him. He was choking back tears when he was trying to talk about it. In a nutshell, this is why we love sports. We love to see passion. We love to see people that care. I thought it was great. Kudos to you, Max Homa. Really, really well done. And a great effort. Just ran into a monster in Jon Rahm, who's the world #1 now.
And he did play great. He did. It's great to see. You told me about the Max Homa interview. I did go back and watch the main clip. I know you said it was a 4-minute interview. I watched like a 35, 45 seconds of it. That's what you just love to see about sports, and you alluded to it there. That's when people ask us all the time, like, why do you do this, or what do you, and like when you can't just put something down, that's why, and to see a player or a professional athlete react like that, to me, is absolutely amazing, because he's literally connecting with the fans at that point in time. You are the ones that make this possible, and I don't think that you see that all the time, especially with professional athletes. Sometimes it feels like they feel like it's deserved, and don't touch me, stay away from me, keep your 6-foot distance. Which again, you know how I feel about that anyway. But on the same token, it's nice to see somebody say thank you, and show how much the fans and the competing and wanting to play well for the fans that come there support them. That to me is what makes me want to pay money to go see an athlete. Not just because that they're the best at what they do, but because of little things like that right then and there. And for those that don't know about the PGA and golf in general is not the sport that you think it is. It's not, hey, these guys just show up on Thursday and they go play 4 rounds of golf and get paid $1 million and they go back. They literally have maybe one day off during the week. they travel, they're in charge of all of their travel money, their caddy, all of that stuff, their equipment, all of to get to where they need to go, the housing for the entire week. And I'm not here to say anybody's a boo-hoo-hoo or that they're spending money, but it's quite the journeyman, especially for the lower tier guys. I know Max Homa is not necessarily I would consider a lower tier guy, but the journeymen from the PGA that do this and they're literally scraping by and getting, missing the cut, not getting paid. You're still putting out your own money for that whole week. So it was really, really to see the emotions of a player come through there.
Yeah, I think the vulnerability that he showed in that moment to open up and just completely show who he was and himself, and in that moment was really cool and something that, like you said, you don't see that often anymore in sports.
Speaking of which, I did watch a little bit of the same interview in regards to the emotion from AJ McCarron in the XFL this weekend, which we kicked off. I think it was last week. This is the second weekend, or this is the first weekend.
I think this is first weekend.
I think it is. But I did watch a little bit of it. Didn't have it on sound, of course, but I was watching, and I really hope that this thing take off. So and talking to AJ McCarron, he did the same thing, came back down, led the team to a win, and he was very emotional, very just happy to be able to be on the field again. And we talk about before, at least I did, these guys that are on the couch that can still play the game at a level that is to be respected. I'm not saying at the highest level of the NFL, but to me, football year round is a great thing. I don't care what level you think it is to me. It about fit to where I thought, just a little bit better than college, but definitely not on the NFL level. But I did see some plays and some performances that were on the NFL level. And I really, really think there's been a lot of calls on Twitter and social media for the NFL to really embrace the XFL and use it as the NBA, like a G League type thing. And I am all for that. I'm all for it because when you look about the Brock Purdy's, the people like that never really get a shot, right? And let's say that they
implementations as well too. You see this thing where if a team is down, they can either they have the choice. They can kick off, or they can, from their own 25, they can go for it on a 4th and 15 and see if they get the first down. So one play to get 15 yards through the air from your own 25, or you can kick off normally and let the clock run. I thought that's kind of a fun thing as well too.
I apologize here. Hold on. I gotta stop you. I gotta apologize. First of all, the stream was dropping out, so I was trying to take care of something real quick. Can you go back to that? What are you saying? They just get a shot for 4th and 15? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, so you can choose what you want to do. You can take 4th and 15 from your own 25-yard line.
When am I choosing to do this? Where is this?
Whenever you want to. You can either kick off, or
so
you
this
can
is
have a 4th and 15.
So this is
from your own
kickoffs.
25. Correct. Yeah, this is on a kickoff. So let's say you're down by 7. You don't want to go for a onside kick. Or actually, let's say this. Let's say you're down by 3, okay? And there's not a lot of time left. Big proponent, go for it on 4th and 15, try to see if you can get down there, or do you do the onside kick, right? Which one do you want to do? The team went for it for 4th and 15 from their own 25, got the first down. Ended up not scoring, but I think it's a cool rule change and a cool kind of a wrinkle as well, too. We talked about the officiating and some of the different rules that they have as well. One of them is that super replay that they have, which is basically you can challenge anything on any play at any given time during that play. So I can challenge an offsides. I can say I thought the player was offsides. I could say I thought my guy got held coming around the end. I could say I thought that was pass interference. I could say whatever you want to. You can challenge a small minuscule part of each and every play. And the cool part is that when they kick it to the booth, you get to see Dean Blandino and these guys in the booth talking about what they see in real time. So you get the actual explanation for what they see, what's going on in their heads as they watch this replay, and then the process through, and then the determination on what happened. I think they're doing a great job, and like I said, yeah, I think it's great. I think you could use it as a feeder league, not only for officials. We talk about officials not having full-time officials. This is a way for you to have them full-time. They can get their work in the XFL. They can progress through. You can have them rated every single game on their calls and put the top of the top in the biggest moments that you need them there.
And that's a great. God damn it! If I say one more time, all right, guys, we're gonna have a drinking game pretty soon. All right.
It's interesting.
I do know. I think that's a great point. We're talking about NFL officials and not being able to, but the rules are different, right? There's different rules. But the
I might
same
like to see a
basic
little bit of a
rules,
marriage,
the same basic rules are still there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to call it as the same. They might get away with a little bit more in that, in this one because, I was really, really surprised though at the defense and the low scoring games. 28. I thought that they would be shootouts. 35-35, but there was a lot of defense, and I think again, I think it's going to be a good thing. I really hope people get involved in it. I don't see how you can't. And if you're really that passionate about football, I mean, I get the setting aside time, with families and stuff, Sundays, that's family day, you got kids in school, sports, things like that. I get all of that. But on the same token, the NFL goes through that as well, and they still manage to sell out stadiums. I don't see why we can't get 5,000 fans, 10,000 fans at these games. I really hope they do. Again, football year-round is never a bad thing, regardless if it's Canadian football, XFL, whatever. Football is football. It's just going to be on different levels. And I was really trying to compare it to the level of play that I saw. And I think I would compare it to college playoff football. I think that's about where it was at as far as the talent level and the plays that I saw. But it only has room to go up, in my opinion. And especially, like you said, when people don't make the draft or they're unrestricted or, they didn't get drafted, they don't have a team, right? So instead of going to a practice squad, which you can still go to the practice squad because I know that the seasons are different. However, I got a chance to hone my skills in the NFL offseason with competitive play at a high level. It's like Pony League baseball, stuff like that average guys can go play. I think it's I really hope it gets going. Our producer Jeremy said that Mackenzie Milton sent out a tweet about I think it was to the Orlando team about coming back to play, and then I guess the Rock retweeted it with a few of his offensive linemen asking him if they're ready to run it back. I figured you might have a take on this.
The Rock obviously hasn't watched any Mackenzie Milton film lately. I'll tell you that. The Mackenzie Milton film from UCF, you might as well listen. Let's put that in the archives and let's just keep that there forever. The Mackenzie Milton footage from Florida State, we can just go ahead and burn.
And I remember when you were excited he was there, though.
Well, I was, and then I watched him move on the first 2 plays of the game and said, "Oh shit." How are we running a mobile quarterback system with a guy who's immobile? This is going to be tough.
Was he part of the UCF championship team?
Yes. Yeah. He was really, really good. Before he got hurt, he was amazing. It's just he's not the same. He doesn't have. He can't move out of the pocket.
Well, he basically destroyed his leg, right?
He's lucky to be alive.
Yeah,
is what he is.
He got not Johnny Knox. I was trying to think about this the other day.
Imagine Tiger trying to play quarterback right now. Basically.
Yeah, I think it was Zach Miller. It was he was a tight end for the Chicago Bears.
Oh yeah.
He caught the pass in the end zone, got destroyed, ended his career, and they ended up overturning it and saying it wasn't even a catch, which it was a catch. But yeah, same kind of thing. Almost lost his leg, almost lost his life. And let me just say this because I know that probably sounded pretty crass and harsh. Thank you to Mackenzie Milton. He was part of the change in the turnaround at Florida State and that culture change that we went through. And I do want to say thank you for that as well, and for coming to a program that I love and admire. I think Mackenzie Milton is going to be a fantastic coach wherever he decides to do that at. I think he'll probably be a great offensive coordinator one day. He's not. You can't. I'm sorry. Mackenzie Milton or Tim Tebow?
I'm sorry?
Mackenzie Milton or Tim Tebow?
In their prime?
Which one are you taking?
Completely healthy, or who am I taking right now?
Well, I feel like your answer should be the same regardless, but I know it's not based on that comment.
Not true.
So
right now, I would take Tim Tebow.
And in the prime?
In their prime, it's probably still Tim Tebow. But
we got him, chat. We got him.
Woo-hoo!
Let it be known on the Uninformed Fan at 2/20/23 at 11:42 a.m. Jeffrey off the schneid said that he would take Tim Tebow as his quarterback in his prime. Thank you very much, everybody. The show's over. Let's have a great day. We can end right then and there, and I will have a fabulous week. Oh.
Listen, I'll take Tim Tebow running behind the Pouncey twins and throwing to murderers and racists and all that. I'll take that team, absolutely.
Whatever wins, bro. Whatever wins.
I know. That was Urban Meyer's comment, too. You guys are one of the same. But Mackenzie Milton was great at UCF. The way he could roll out of the pocket, make the throws everywhere. I mean, he had speed on the edge. He could run for days. He was going to be an NFL quarterback for sure. Just a very unfortunate incident in that USF game.
I don't know about his height, though. Wasn't he short? He's like 5'8".
Does that matter anymore?
In the NFL, yes.
It only mattered. It doesn't matter for Kyler Murray. It only mattered when Charlie Ward was a quarterback.
You're right. It doesn't matter for Kyler Murray, which is why the Cardinals are projected to finish dead last next year.
Yeah, who did they hire for their coach?
I don't know.
Was it the offensive coordinator? Whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really. They're the Cardinals are gonna fuck it up. It doesn't matter. They're
God.
Imagine living in a place such as beautiful as Arizona, which I've never been to, by the way, but it looks beautiful. And then to deal with that,
what do you figure with that? Like, what do you do? What's the answer, right? Because
well, did you see you see the video of the head coach going in and greeting Kyler Murray in the weight room?
No.
Did you see that? Oh my God! So they're like showing the new coach coming in, and he's like, "Oh yeah, whatever, happy to be here." Blah 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 blah. And then he goes, "Well, where's Kyler?" And they're like, "Kyler's in the weight room." And he's like, "Oh okay." He just drops his bags right then and there, and he goes walking in, and he sees Kyler. He's like, "What up, bro? We ready to do this?" And Kyler Murray's like, "Yeah, no emotion whatsoever." He's just like, "Yeah, okay." Nice to meet you. I don't know. It was the defensive coordinator from the Eagles is who they end up hiring. Just in from the producer.
Interesting.
So speaking of the NFL, we got another thing. First we have, what was it? Spygate, Deflategate, both by the Patriots, I might add. Now apparently we have the Sodgate. And for those of you that don't know, there's been one guy that's been taking care of the NFL field for the entirety of the Super Bowl. And apparently he's a Chiefs fan. He has been a Chiefs fan the whole time.
He's a Chiefs fan, and he's retiring after this year.
So we all saw the slippery field during the Super Bowl. People are saying, what's the difference then? Okay, they both played on it. Well, the biggest difference is the Kansas City Chiefs players did not change their spikes whatsoever. Apparently, 18 to 20 of the Philadelphia Eagles had to change their spikes at halftime in order to get better grip on the field. Now, to me, this just makes zero sense whatsoever. So, apparently the Sodgate, the conspiracy theory is that he told the Chiefs this is what was going to happen, so they wore the right cleats. But from my understanding, the Chiefs were losing at halftime. And then the Eagles changed their cleats at halftime and then proceeded to lose the second half and lose the game. So the fact that people come up with this shit, to me, is just mind-boggling. Like, who just sits around and thinks up this shit?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at the win-loss percentage in terms of, the Eagles rate and the Chiefs rate, right, you're talking about a difference of like 24% slippage. I think that's a big number.
But they changed their cleats for the second half.
Do I think that it's an actual thing? Not really. I mean, I saw the story and I sent it to you because I just thought it was interesting and funny. This is the first time. So that field that was in Arizona, this is the first time that they've ever used that field. And usually when it comes to football and stuff like that, those fields really need to be broken in. They need to kind of go through transition periods. The field was rolled in day of. The ground, like you said, the groundskeeper has been a guy who's taking care of the field.
The sod father.
The sod father, the entirety of the history of the Super Bowl, and now we are at a point where he is retiring. Roger Goodell, I guess he says, called him and told him to make sure that he was fair, whatever that means.
You have to be neutral.
You have to be neutral.
Like, I don't know how a blade of grass knows the difference between red and green.
I don't either, but that's the guy's story, and that's the one that he told. That's
Oh,
what's been
my
grabbed and ran with, and here we are now talking about it on the Uninformed Fan.
I feel like you're better off talking about the NFL being scripted than whether a blade of grass treats one player differently than the other.
I don't know about that.
I don't. I mean, what are we talking about here? So, because it's his last year, he decided to give the Chiefs the inside information. But again, here's my biggest takeaway: the Chiefs were losing the first half, regardless of slippages. So I guess you could say they should have been losing by more.
That's how the script was supposed to go. That's how the script was written, Tyson.
Well, the script apparently that was leaked said the Eagles were supposed to win. I don't know. It's just another thing for us to talk about.
Fucked up.
It's just it goes to show you that we live for conspiracy theories. We love to know that somebody cheated. We love to know that somebody had an unfair advantage. That's just the way we are built.
I have a question for you. Did you hate? Okay, and I just want to ask you this. We haven't talked about this or prepped this at all. Were you upset when the Spygate thing came out for the Patriots?
No.
You don't got to give me an explanation behind it.
Because it didn't really impact me.
Okay. Were you upset with the Deflategate, which I think is completely bogus?
No. Didn't care.
Didn't care either.
No.
Were you upset when the Astros were banging on trash cans?
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Yes. Not only was I mad about that. I mean, not only they banging on trash, like they had cameras set up.
Cameras.
And according to everybody, people have been stealing signs in baseball since the beginning of time. I have never seen that. I never in my entire life.
You didn't steal signs in high school?
No.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, bro, if you were on second base and you picked up a sign, it was grab the dirt for off speed, and it was wiggle your helmet for a fastball.
I guess I was just that good that I didn't need it.
This was your on, and once you were on, it was grab dirt was that, and it was wiggle your hat for or wiggle your helmet for the fastball.
I mean, I played on traveling teams that we never did that. I don't know,
bro. We always did that.
Wow.
Always did that. Any advantage we could get. But that was also like if the catcher was stupid enough not to throw down multiple signs.
Okay, but on the same token, you're not. So with that being said, that's one way to steal a sign that I don't think that's egregious. Now, when you're putting up cameras and using video footage in real time to get angles that you normally couldn't have as a player, that's a problem.
I agree with that. And like we said before, right? We were talking about the Cowboys and Bucks, and the rumor was that the Cowboys had the Bucks offensive signs.
Yeah.
Okay, well if that's the case, then how are you not smart enough to understand that and rectify the situation? If they've done their homework enough to see your hand signs and understand what play you're about to run, then that's on you.
The most egregious play calling and signs in the history of sports to me is college football. These guys are over there with poster boards. They have bed sheets blocking
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
What is happening over there, man? And why can't we just do it in college, right? I mean, why can't we just use the why can't they have the headsets? Why can't they do it? If you're going to do it on that league, you might as well do it because some schools probably couldn't afford it. I don't know.
You see this other thing too? I just saw, and I saw it a little bit earlier, but I wasn't sure if it was accurate. We'll get back to that NBA point in 1 second, Jeremy. You see Daniel Jones wants $45 million a year and just fired his representation that he had because they weren't agreeing on what his number wanted to be. And now
he really thinks he's going to get $45 million.
He wants $45 million a year,
all guaranteed, probably. I'll tell you, the rumors are heating up that the Ravens, the Ravens are about to trade Lamar.
New York Giants fans, let Daniel Jones walk. If he won't take 30 to 35 million a year, you let him go.
You think he's worth 30 to 35?
I think that's the going rate for a quarterback now.
For a mediocre quarterback?
If you get him 3 years, $100 million, okay.
How about 2 years, $50 million guaranteed, all of it?
He's never going for it.
Why not?
I'll never sign that contract. Why not just franchise tag him? If you really want to franchise tag him, but I think you just let him walk. I wouldn't care. I'd go trade.
There's
for Lamar
no
right
way.
now.
There's no way you're paying him $45 million
Jackson right now. I would go trade for Lamar Jackson right now.
I think the Ravens are moving on from him. But then again, okay.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm the Giants, I am calling the Ravens right now. I am on the phone. Give me Lamar Jackson. I'll give him $50 million. Daniel Jones wants 45. Sure, I guess I'll give Lamar 50.
Yeah, but he wants all of his guaranteed.
Okay.
They're
what
not
do you want $50 million for 4 years? I'll give you $200 million for the next 4 years, all guaranteed.
He wants five 280.
I'll give you 4 and 200. How about that? Then you can sign another
I believe the Ravens have offered that. The Ravens have offered him that. And he has said no. I really wished, man. You know what would be a great forget Hard Knocks, bro. Put a camera in a negotiating room with all of these fuckers around the table. That's, $29.99 per episode.
There's got to be something in there where, you legally can't do it. But I would pay for it.
$29.99 an episode.
1,000%. I want to see, but I want it specified to my team and my GM. You know what I mean? I want to see it all. I want to see what my GM is. Somebody will share the other ones on Reddit. I don't fucking care about that. I'm saying you release them all at the same time. I want to see what my GM had to do, how he negotiated, what his thought process was.
Bro, could you imagine that? Right? All right. NFL Barstool, hit up the flip phone. Let me know. I've got an idea. Behind the scenes. You know what? Actually, I take that back. Myself and my script writer actually have a pilot for this. It's based off Drew Rosenhaus, right? And then Rosenhaus. And the negotiations like that. And,
I think Rosenhaus was like a general in the German army in World War II.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
That would be good too. But to have so it'd be like I don't even want to say this on the air, okay? Because it might not because of that, because it might get picked up by somebody. But RJ, if you're watching, if you're listening, we're gonna get to going on that script again. But that would be awesome, would it not? To have a camera in the room and be like, all right, Lamar, here's where we're at. We're at 5 years, $220 million, $150 million guaranteed. Camera cuts to Lamar. No.
Lamar, why not? He looks over at his mom. They look at each other. Just no, I want more.
No.
Who would you pay that much money to? Because obviously we agree. I don't think Lamar gets that. But was there another quarterback or somebody out there that you think is worth that money? Mahomes already got paid, so you can take him off the board.
You know what they were talking about though. Before we get, you know what they were talking about with that, as far as Mahomes signing that contract a few years ago, about how in 2 years he's going to be like the fourth or fifth highest paid quarterback, and that $50 million is going to be now a reasonable number to build around. Like, holy shit. First of all, I don't know. It depends on the team as a whole. Because if you go and pay somebody $50 million that you don't have a young class around that are on rookie contracts or veterans that are on good deals, then you're not going to be able to build around them. I think it just depends on your roster. If you have the right roster, then you could pay somebody. Like, again, let's think of the Bengals, right? So Joe Burrow's up there as somebody that could be on that nine. But Jamar Chase hasn't gotten paid yet. What is that guy going to command? Did Justin Jefferson no, he's still on his rookie, correct? Those two guys are about to get what, 25, 30 million a year? So if you got 25, 30 million from Jamar, how are you going to pay Joe Burrow 55? That's you're talking about 80, 90 million between two players. And the cap will probably be what, like two, I don't even know what the cap is now, 220, something like that?
Up to like 230 right now.
230, and it goes up like 15 million every year. So you just figure in 3 years, let's just say, so it'd be almost 290, right? But you're going to pay 100. You're going to almost have 40% of your cap in two players. I don't know. I don't know how that. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Jeremy just said cap's going up to 224.5. So you figure. I mean, how do you? I don't know, bro. I don't know. When it comes to now, who deserves it? Let's just say who deserves it. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. I don't see how you can give a mobile quarterback that kind of money. I really don't. I just don't, because they're going to, at least as far as the guaranteed part. Does Lamar Jackson deserve it? I would have to say so. I mean, he's when you look at the quarterback and the impact that they have on their franchise, I think without Lamar Jackson, you saw what they were. But on the same token, you know, the backup guy didn't get the reps. So I don't know. I mean, was it Huntley?
I think part of our argument for Lamar, Huntley, he was a Pro Bowler. What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. He did pretty good. And I think if he were to get, so was Tim Tebow. But if he gets more time, he might develop. And I think that's what the Ravens are going to look at. Where am I at in the franchise? Where am I at as far as a whole rounded? Am I one piece away, and that piece is the quarterback, like the Bucs a few years back? Do I have a solid team that I'm just missing one piece of? And if that's the case, and I have room for $50 million, then I guess it's screwed up. You know, the Deshaun Watson thing, again, the Browns just being pathetic really fucked up everything for the NFL. And I bet I would love to hear some of the backroom conversations between the owners, the commissioner, and the Browns. Now that would be another one that I'd love. I'd pay $199 an episode to watch that meeting in a room in regards to guaranteed money, because they're not supposed to collude as far as but those motherfuckers colluding.
I think I would pay Trevor Lawrence. I'd pay Justin Herbert. I would pay Joe Burrow.
I don't even know about Justin Herbert.
I would.
I don't know.
Kid's got.
He's definitely got potential. But think about that right there. Justin Herbert couldn't beat out Tyrod Taylor for the starting job, according to the coach at the time.
According to Anthony Lynn.
Well, again, though, we're talking about players that don't get a shot, and especially when it goes back to other quarterbacks that haven't gotten their shots. It took a doctor puncturing Tyrod Taylor's lung for him to jump up and take the reps. And boom, look what happened.
Yeah, he never let go.
Exactly.
But he was drafted to be the man. It's not like he wasn't drafted to
go
out there now.
Any quarterback that's drafted in the first or second round, to me, is drafted to be the man. Correct?
I think some we draft as projects, right? Like if you were to draft Anthony Richardson this year, you don't expect him to come out and be the man year one, right?
I don't know. That's a pretty poverty franchise in the Panthers. I think that they throw him to the fire. I don't know. I don't know.
Why though? Like when you have Sam Darnold, who wasn't even who was very serviceable last year in terms of the end of the year when he came in, I just don't understand why you would do that.
I don't understand why a lot of NFL teams do what they do. Draft day was on again last night, and I watched it again last night. I need to be in that room. I need to be in that room. I need to be in that room. For all you NFL franchises, I am loyal to the Chicago Bears, but I will put that loyalty aside for a front office job. Hit me up on the flip phone.
Always looking for video coordinators.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I'm not a scout. I'm not a video production guy. I'm just going to tell you what I see and and that right there is priceless information. That will take a poverty franchise straight to the Super Bowl.
How's the rest of your week looking?
I don't know. I'm living one day at a time, baby. One day at a time.
That's what my sponsor tells me. I am locked into work. I think my next day off is like 9 or 10 days, something like that. So here we are. We're on this path. Yeah.
Well, the stock market's been calling. Today was an off day. The stock market was closed, but we're starting to get some good news. Bitcoin's ripping again, which is always good for everyone. The stock market is looking juicy.
What was that? Chinese central bank just pumped $192 billion into their economy.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
There's things that I see in here.
We could talk about the U.S. economy and, how Japan holds the majority of 30% of the United States debt, and China's right behind it at 20. But I don't know whose money are they pumping in, who's printing out what. I don't know. I mean that'll get us. We can do a special economic /political episode, and really get the fuel going. But
we cannot.
As we wrap up this show today, guys, I want to thank everybody for joining in again. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. That's where you're going to get a lot of our posts. We are going to start posting a little bit more on Facebook as well, just to try to get some knowledge out. We will be posting our Discords. We want to start taking in calls. We want to start talking to the viewers. We want to get your ideas. And Friday, we'd like to start to that. So we're going to put out the Discord. If you're not able to be in live, you can always ask a question via the Discord, or you can email us at questions@theuninformedfan.com, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. But as we started this show, and we continue to have the vision of this is going to be the most fan interactive sports show / whatever the hell we talk about out there. And that doesn't happen without you guys. So thank you guys very much. If you have anything that you'd like to talk about, doesn't really matter. Jeffrey loves giving relationship advice. He is the date doctor. You know,
Proof is in my pudding.
the proof is in his pudding, and he's got a lot of pudding. My pudding don't jiggle, jiggle. It folds. Everybody, have a super great week. Looking forward to see you